Did you get snowed in, Robert, or what? What else is new? Got any good chit chat news? What happened? Yes. Yeah, it worked out good. Heading over to the Lincoln Friday. And what about my homeboy? They're riding the Jinx to play Bixby at a neutral site. They can skateboard to that game. And you take care of my boys, you know? It's all good. It's all good. Good? Okay. Why don't we just get started with questions? Anybody that's got questions? I mean, pretty familiar with West Virginia and their approach. Really good. A lot of similarities to the game we just played. Very explosive offensively. Terrific quarterback play. Running the football, they're good up front on offense. 12 and 13 and 8 make a lot of plays for them. And then defensively, they're a good team. You know, they've a few schools have scored some points on them, some teams, but it's been big plays. It's not been very consistent drives. So we'll certainly have our hands full with these guys. Need a great week of work and kind of the same old coaches talk. Had good workout last night. Get some good plans together and go play hard Saturday afternoon.
You have a loss like Saturday that comes down to one play in the final minute of the game. What do you say to the guys on Sunday to make sure that it doesn't sort of linger into this week?
You know, it's the same every week. I wish I could tell you guys it mattered. You know, I could go back to the story about James Franklin. These guys are in different worlds nowadays, and so you tell them the truth. You know, after the Baylor game, I told them that we were undisciplined. We had more stupid penalties than probably I've had here in my career, and don't have a chance to win. And you know, after this game, I told them the same thing I told you guys down there Saturday: is you guys did everything we asked you to do. You played hard. They made the last play, and you didn't. But as a coach, can't ask you to do anything else than what you did. And so you know, these guys had practiced well all year. They were enthusiastic, and we had good effort last night. And so, you know, when I watch things, as long as I'm seeing that, I'm in a good place, just because I know that we're getting everything out of them that we ask.
When you comb through the video from Saturday, anything strike you that you didn't see on the sidelines immediately? Whether it was Jelani Woods, for instance, had a block on one of Chuba's touchdowns. It was just pancake. I mean, any of those type things just come out at you?
I think the obvious. Our offensive line played really good. Justice Hill going out, you know, wasn't the best thing could happen to us, but Chuba came in and ran hard and gave us some gas, and wide receivers were able to make plays. Taylor was fantastic. Defensively, they rushed the ball on us. We had some concerns about that based on what we had to do to try to prevent throws down the field. So there's some give and take there. The quarterback he's actually a little faster and quicker than what I thought live. I wish we would have kicked the ball better, but everything else was pretty much what I thought. I mean, the way we played, and so I was proud of the guys.
Speaking of the kicking, you mentioned Saturday afterwards. That was something you would have to consider, address. Where are you with that?
Well, when we practice tomorrow, we'll find out. You know, really what frame of mind Matt's in. I mean, I don't think it's any mystery. At times, with kickers, people try to put too much into it. I don't think there's any question that he's good enough to execute. So he has to be able to focus and get his mind clear so he can kick and get back to where he was 3 weeks ago. And we just have to watch that during the week. I mean, there's really not anything. We could talk about it for an hour, but I don't know what we would say. That's what it comes down to. Try to build pressure situations for him and to make sure that he's clear mentally. And if he is, I don't think it'll be an issue.
Good. couple other guys on the roster. Who would be the guy you go to if it's not?
Well, we've got a couple young guys, and then obviously Hockett. So I don't know. I'm not sure that we would know at this point until we would say we need to make that decision.
Mike, was the fumble by Chuba, was there just a great hit, or was it a ball security problem, or do you know?
Yeah, I thought he had good ball security, and I thought he took a hit at multiple directions. And sometimes that's going to happen with young players. They've been really good this year. So for me to say that, well, I think that's the first fumble we've had, isn't it? So they've been really good, and those guys take a lot of hits. And as I mentioned earlier, when 5 went out, more of the workload went on him. And so at times when you're young like they are, fatigue can set in, and the first thing that can happen is the ball can come out. But I'll say this, it wasn't just a soft or a light blow. It was multiple angles, and he took a really good hit. And we've addressed it. Nobody knows it more than him, and he'll be better.
You took the signer out. Was that a health issue, or was that a situation where you wanted a different?
He got dinged. He got dinged on the sideline over there, and so we didn't feel comfortable putting him in. He was a little bit woozy, and so Hockett came in, did a nice job.
Kenyon Williams has played in 4 games now. Is he a guy you guys are still planning to redshirt, or is he going to play in these next couple games?
We're going to redshirt him.
How hard is it to just shut a guy's season down after he's played in your past few games?
Meaning what?
Well, just he's not going to play anymore. Obviously, he's still going to be practicing. But do you think it'll be weird for him to be a guy who's played for you guys and suddenly you aren't going to be using him anymore?
It'll be different, I'm sure. Just the total number of plays that he would be involved in for his career, it's a better option. Selfishly, for us, it would probably be better to play him. But I think you just you put all the formula together of the percentages of the plays that he would play with the number of players on the field, and it's not enough to say it's worth burning a year over, in our opinion. I guess if he were to come in and put his foot down and say, it doesn't matter, it's my career, I want to play, then we'd play him.
There are other young players in his position. Where you plug another one in?
We've got some veteran guys that have a little experience that we'll put in there and let them fill that spot. He was good for us. You know, he's made plays, and his speed's been a benefit to our teams. And so we'll put a guy in there that we think can get as close as possible to replacing his ability.
What does the loss of Cowboy do for you in the second half?
He hasn't done much for us, and he made a choice. He wants to try to go and play somewhere that he thinks he can get on the field more. He's been good. He's done everything we've asked him. He's just not been able to fit into our system much, and you're going to see some of that with guys that say, hey, I really love to be on the field and play the game, and they're going to choose to go and try and do it somewhere else, which is understandable.
When did he approach you about transferring? Or did you, when did you have the conversation about it?
I've had multiple conversations with him over the last month.
Is that a product maybe of the new defense coming in? Because it seemed like last year, as the season went on, as a true freshman, he played quite a bit near the end of the year.
Probably a little of both. Had to meet halfway on that, I would guess. I would have to put some thought into that. The other side of it is we have some young safeties in our program that are pretty good players, and so he might feel like that they've moved ahead of him and been doing the basic math, give him a better chance to play somewhere else with the young guys that are in the program.
Is that the biggest difference in players these days? It seems like transferring is a lot easier for guys to do than maybe it was back in the day.
Well, I think we live in a world where people are non-committal. We allow liberalism to say, hey, I can just do what I want and I don't have to really be tough and fight through it. And you see that with young people because it's an option they're given. We weren't given that option when we were growing up. We were told what to do. We did it the right way, or you go figure it out on your own. In the world today, there's a lot of entitlement. I'm a firm believer in the snowflake. I think it's setting there, and I'm not talking about Tabo. Tabo and I have had multiple good talks. I'm talking about every millennial young person, Generation Z, I think is what they call them. That's the world we live in, because if they say, well, it's a little bit hard, then we say, okay, well, let's go try something else. Versus, hey, let's bear down and let's fight through this. So you see a lot of that nowadays, and that doesn't have anything to do with Tabo or McCleskey or anybody that's been on the portal here. That's just in general in society. Even if you're working down here at Walmart, if your boss gets after you and tells you that you're not doing a good job, you may go home and cry and tell your mom, and your mom may say it's okay. It's just kind of the facts of life, the world we live in today. Don't get me on politics.
With that in mind, what does it mean to you when a guy like Taylor Cornelius could have had the chance to leave and doesn't?
Taylor, we've talked about this along. I was riding on the bus home, and my 16-year-old was sitting there, and my 14-year-old was sitting there, so I was going back and forth, because then I get in the parent role of making sure everything's okay, with them, and the 14-year-old's giving me an earful on all the mistakes we made. And one of the first things he said is, if Corn had one more year, guy may be really good. And he's right. He's in his 10th game, and he just keeps getting better and better and better from experience. And so he's paid his dues, and he's worked hard, and it's awesome for him, that we were here to stick with him and believe in him. And guy's a competitor, man. He's tough. He takes a lot of hits, keeps fighting, never gives up, made a lot of plays. So we couldn't be any more proud of them. They're all different. I mean, it's no different. You have multiple kids in your house. They're not the same. They're all different. So we adjust to them differently. And Corn Dog's a salt of the earth, blue collar, small West Texas kid, probably raised a little differently than some kids nowadays. And the values that had been instilled in him with his mom and daddy were you need to do what you're supposed to do and figure it out. And that's what he did. It's worked out well for him.
He's also created quite a rapport with Tylen. And Tylen had another huge game, and then you look outside here, you've got in the snow, Tylen, Bolitnikov.
I did good, didn't I? Huh?
Did you plow for that? Or
Yeah, I mean, it took, 90 minutes, but I did pretty good on that. I won't say that I actually did the computer image part to make it balanced, but the snow part, the shovel was pretty easy.
Tylen's.
Did you see those yellow spots out there in the field?
Oh, that belonged to your dog?
That's my homie.
Okay.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Yellow
That's
snow.
Were you looking at Deal, or were you looking at your dog?
Well, Deal's been known to do that, but usually it was at 1 or 2 in the morning. So, no, I didn't mean that. Don't anybody take that personal. So, okay, yeah, he and Tylen have worked well together, and as you progress through the season, if you look at it from a coach's point of view and guys that think they know what they're talking about offensively and quarterback play, he's gotten better at those throws, and he's improved just from reps and time and getting a feel for things. And so, and obviously Tylen's a good player, and he can go get the ball. He's got starting to develop some speed and acceleration running through deep balls, like the guy that played here last year that was here last night at practice. James came to practice last night and kind of walked through the doors and saw him, and I thought surely he doesn't. Thought maybe I was having deja vu, but he's accelerated through some deep balls a little bit, kind of like James.
Were you surprised? I mean, did you think that he'd have an opportunity to be, in terms of the Bolitnikov, being a semifinalist at this point? I mean, any way you projected that?
I mean, preseason, no, but I mean he's, and I don't keep up with a lot of stats. I don't read email, and I'm not a big fan of social media, but when things are important, it gets put in front of me. So somebody printed off the copy of the. I didn't realize where he was at statistically. I mean, he's further ahead than guys that we've had that have won the award, and it's really not even close. I mean, I didn't know he had almost 1,300 yards in receptions and had leading the league or leading the country in 10-yard catches, 20-yard catches, 200-yard games, whatever. I'm not sure what all it is. I quit reading the stats, but I have to give the guy credit, man. He's way up there. I mean, I don't know when they decide on what's the next cut. I mean, I don't know how he wouldn't be in that cut. I don't know who else is out there. I mean, 13's in it. The guy we're playing this week, I don't know if 12 or 8 are in it, but can't imagine he wouldn't be in it because he's done really well. And to answer your question, no, I didn't see that coming, but he's developed really well over the season. But he's tough, he's competitive, he's unselfish, and he's willing to do whatever we ask him to do. He'll go block too now. He's not just a receiver. If you ask him to go block, he'll take pride in it. He's kind of the opposite of what we talked about with young people that are soft and entitled and are snowflakes. He's the opposite of that. You don't see that in him at this point in his career and in the way he lives his life every day.
Like you often talk to us about motivating kids, and it's different than it was. And what about your coaches? How much time do you spend just worrying about coaches running out of gas or staying focused and those kinds of things?
I worry about everything all the time, but they need to. I expect them selfishly, and "I" is not a word that I use a lot, to do their job and do it the right way and do it with a smile on their face and be encouraging and enthusiastic, because that's their job. And they're supposed to be mature and they're supposed to be leaders. And if they can't lead, then they're in the wrong profession. So that has never been an issue in this organization. But it's not something that I don't think about all the time. And if there has to be an issue, or there has to be something that is an issue to fix, I'll fix it real fast. But we don't have a second to waste. We don't have enough time to get ready to play West Virginia, much less somebody pouting about not having a good day, or somebody said that you're not a good coach, or whatever. Basically you don't take things personal and you do your job, and that's what you get paid to do. And if we weren't paying you, you should want to do it anyway in this profession, because it's just like the one thing that I say to them multiple times during the week is, it's a joke they even pay us to do this. So you should be appreciative of where you're at, and that's your responsibility to the organization and the players that we've recruited here. It's like that article or that interview I watched on Tom Brady. There's a 17-minute interview. I don't know if y'all have seen it, where that one guy interviewing him used to play for the Patriots, played in the league a long time, who I don't even know what his name is. But there's a really good interview online, and somebody sent it to me. Mason Rudolph sent it to me last night. And so I watched it. And if all of us as coaches or players or athlete or people in society want to learn something, you can turn that on and listen to what that guy has to say about life and work habits and doing this and that and being unselfish. And that's a pretty good example of the way that you should operate on a daily basis. And so that's what we expect from our coaches.
The fourth down throw back to Taylor was obviously a huge throw with the pressure, the drama, and all that. But I think it was a third quarter throw. May have been the most impressive throw I've ever seen him make. Into triple coverage with Dylan Stoner. And I mean, it had to be thrown. The window was extremely tight. You remember the throw?
Yeah, he made a lot of throws in that game. I don't know how many times he threw it. What, 50-something times? Yeah, he threw it a lot and made a lot of throws, and he made a lot of throws under pressure. I haven't addressed the last throw of the game with him. If I did, I'm sure he's going to tell you, wish he would have put the ball out front. And then he either catches it or he doesn't. I mean, he threw the ball below him, got down around his feet. But I'm sure that he understands. And he came, I saw him this morning and talked to him a little bit, but we didn't talk about the game. I just talked to him about other things, and that appreciated his effort and his leadership, and is proud of him the way he competes. And, life's going to be good for him based on his temperament and the way he sees the world. And he needs to know that. We told him that. I told him that. I don't need to talk about the last throw. He knows better than anybody.
Yeah, I was going to give him credit. I talked about the fourth down throw, not the 2-point, because that's such a negative. I don't like to be negative.
Fourth down throw was a good throw.
Yeah, the fourth down
Nice
throw was a
throw.
hell of a throw. But that throw to Dylan, and I mean, Dave and John, I hear them in my ear. And I mean, I think Dave's head's bumping the ceiling of that broadcast booth, because, I mean, you just don't see him throw into triple coverage much.
Yeah, Mike does a good job training those guys, and so for the most part, he gets them in the right place most of the time with the throws. And so there's times that you have to be able to pull it and let it go into tight spots, and he's learning to do that and to make those throws. Experience is important for him. He's up around, I don't know, probably 750, 800 reps now, and it usually takes 1,500 to 2,000 for a quarterback at this level to get really comfortable where you can do that, and so he's three-quarters of the way there.
You mentioned how after the Baylor game there aren't that many guys who've kind of stepped up as vocal leaders on the team. Did anybody kind of take that role for the Bedlam game?
We had that was one of the things that I told y'all last Monday that I challenged the team the night before, and we had some guys do that. Here's the issue with stepping up, and it's not that easy because, well, this is my opinion, and I don't care what anybody else thinks anyway, but if you're going to step up and be a vocal leader, then you have to be willing to be uncomfortable all the time. And meaning that if you're a little tired in winter workouts and you're not giving effort because you're a little tired or you have a cold or you've had your girlfriend texted some other dude and you're upset and you're not practicing hard, or if you're a little sore or you have an injury and you're not willing to lead all the time, then you can't do it. And so you have to be willing to be uncomfortable to be a vocal leader and do it all the time, or then people look at us and say, the guy's really not a leader. And I thought we had some guys, and I'm not willing to share those names right now because they haven't done it long enough for me to say that they're in a position that I would come out and say that they can lead, because they got to lead a long time and they got to do it all the time. But we did have 2 or 3 guys that I mentioned to the team that I thought were trying to do it. But it's on a really short-term basis right now, and hopefully they'll continue to do it.
Were you a vocal leader when you were a player?
Was I a vocal leader?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I can't remember. That's so long ago. You would have to ask guys that have been around for 100 years, like Robert. I don't even know. Mike Sherman was around. I don't know. Is he still around? Yeah. I mean, you would have to ask those guys. I can't remember really what I did.
Getting bowl eligible with the 6th win a motivator for players?
Oh, I'm sure that they think about it some. People bring that up. They need to be motivated about playing a team that's whatever they are in the country, 4th or 5th or 6th, and an opportunity to go out and play 2 games good back to back. That'd be nice. It'd be nice to have 2 good coaching plans back to back, and kids play hard for 2 games and play smart, disciplined football with great effort, and be a tough football team. That'd fire me up. More so than the other side of it, and we've kind of instilled that in them, and hopefully we can get that.
Between the, I don't know if your mind's on this right now or not, but between the Texas game, which was primetime ABC, the game Saturday, which went national, and was, I got an email that said it was. Lived up to standards as far as ratings. It had great ratings. Now you've got another ABC game with another top 10 team with West Virginia. Mm-hmm. What does that kind of exposure do for your program with recruiting? It's almost like you're getting more big-time TV games than you even did a year ago.
I don't think there's any question that exposure and marketability is important, and not only for us but for the university. And when it works out that way, it's awesome. If it doesn't, we still have to have the same approach as an organization. But somebody told me this morning that the ratings for our game were really high, or one of the highest of the year. I don't know, whatever that means. But for the most part, really, we're full in recruiting. But it sure helps you for 20 and 21 and 22 down the line. Guys see you. We've had this discussion. We've had guys that have come to school here because they said they saw us play when they were sophomores. And on TV, and they got interested in guys that would be from removed areas. So it's always positive.
How has Justice been these past couple of days?
He's been doing fine. We got him all x-rayed and CAT scanned, and he's all clear. So just a soreness and worked through it. Took a pretty good hit.
You mentioned last week that Tyron Johnson kind of stepped up as a vocal leader going into things. How nice was it to see him have that day?
And he did a good job in this game too, being a little bit vocal, and and Tyron's a guy that we've talked about doing it, and I think he's trying to do it. It's starting to come a little natural to him. He's got to decide whether he's going to use English or actually Cajun when he communicates, so everybody's on the same page, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, I love Tyron. He's awesome, but he competed in that game. Game wasn't too big for him. He said, throw it to me, and I'll go, I'll block, I'll run, I'll hurdle people. And those are the things that you have to have in order to grow your program and continue to improve. And he certainly did a nice job Saturday.
See him start to jump over somebody. Is that something you're okay with?
It used to worry me. Now I like it because I think it energizes the team. I think it energizes the players. I think it's a good thing. So I'm good. I used to worry about it a lot, but you see it all the time now, and guys, they just keep going. So I thought he competed.
What does that mean as far as when you've got Tylen on the other side to kind of help keep things balanced on the side of the side?
Yeah, we've been through that for years around here with James and Dez and Justin, and you need some flexibility on the other side, and I think he's doing that. I guess the easiest answer is if they want to roll and protect against 2 all the time, then we'll throw it to the other guys. We're good. We got 17 that's made plays, 88 can make plays, 13 can balance it out. There's some things we can do with 89, so we're okay with it.
What do you want to see from the defense these last couple weeks of the season to make you feel good about the trajectory going into next year?
The thing they've done is they've done a better job of being in proximity and coverage, and we've worked it and stressed it. I think the players have bought in more, and I think it's been an advantage for us. And I want to play good, clean football with great effort. Everybody in here knows that if we have a number of dumb penalties, our chances of winning go down drastically. Just like in this last game, I think we had, 50 yards in penalties? 47 yards or something, and one of them was number 2, didn't know what to do on he submarined a guy on special teams. He didn't know you couldn't do that. And so really, we played a smart game, no dumb penalties. We didn't have any emotional issues from dumb penalties, and we reduced the number of yards we gave them. That's kind of what I'd like to see them do. And I thought we tackled better. I mean, they got 4 and 5 and whatever that other number guy that runs routes, and the 1 are hard to tackle. So you're going to miss some tackles, but overall we tackled better, and I think that's a good long-term goal for us.
Look at the West Virginia defense during your opening remarks. How have you seen that defense progress under Dana over the years? Because it used to be a case where they were giving up 30, 45 points a game, and now they're only holding opponents to 20 points per game.
Well, it's been a while, I think, since they've given up points. Now, he's been pretty good for really probably like 4 years now. They've done a nice job there. They have a good scheme. They understand their 3-3 team, and they understand it, and they're pretty multiple out of it. You'll get some 2-hole, you'll get some roll coverage, you'll get some 3, you'll get some 1, and he's going to blitz you. I mean, that's what he does. He wants to get you in a point, and he's going to blitz you, and he's not scared to bring 1 more than you have in protection, which he'll do to us. I mean, he's done it to us every year. And see if you have an answer for bringing 1 more than you've got in protection, and see if you can make a play.
You mentioned Justice. Is it frustrating all that you kind of limit him early in the year to have him for games like Saturdays, and then just something happens and he's not able to play?
Well, what would early in the year have to do with that?
Well, you hope that over the course of the year he'd even out with 15. Obviously, it's not. The reason he didn't get hurt on Saturday because he didn't carry as early in the year, but is it frustrating that you hope to have him for 30, 40
Oh, well,
it's
it's not frustrating. I don't really get frustrated in the game unless we have a bunch of dumb penalties. Those things frustrate me, or if we don't have a good coaching plan going in. It's not easy to deal with when you have good players that are banged up and can't get on the field. That's the most difficult part, but it's part of the game. It's a violent, physical game, and so guys are going to get hurt. Unfortunately, you just hope it's at a minimal stage.
With Saturday being senior day, are there any juniors who are eligible to graduate who are planning on participating in those activities, or?
I don't know. That sign up is this week, and nobody's come to me with any of that. But we've got, gosh, I think we've got 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are in that position where they apply for the draft. Like I'm sure Darian Daniels will. I don't know who else, but you'll have guys that could apply for the draft, and if they're doing that, I would guess they would go through senior day. And then if they didn't get the report that they would want, they can still come back. Good. All right.